What's shaking, my friends? Welcome to a new vlog. It is April the 1st, and it is the kickoff for Ramathon and TBR Blitz. I'm on my phone because, like an idiot, I left my SD card in my laptop, which my husband took on a trip that he had to take for work. So that's where I am. Now, I took part in Toy Talk's sprints last night at midnight. So I did a couple of sprints and I got 46 pages into Jade War, which is my first book I want to read by Fundally. And I also read some this morning. And I'm about to sprint again. There's a lot of people getting in on some sprint action today, so I'm gonna get in with that. Currently, right now, I'll tell you, 124 pages into Jade War. I'm liking it. It's kind of, right now, we're just kind of getting back into the world from where Jade City ended, and there's been some time has passed, and we're kind of getting back into things. So I'm liking it, and hoping that there's going to be a lot of things going on soon, but I am liking it, and I overall like the characters in this series. So I'm going to hop on some sprint, and I will check in with you guys when I get a little further on into the book. All right, so checking back in. I'm now a little over 50% of the way into Jade War, and my thoughts on this are probably going to be unpopular. I liked Jade City. I gave it 4 stars. I liked the plot. I liked the characters. What is not really jiving for me in this book is all of that. So when I listened to people that had read the series, like Jade War is like their favorite, and Jade War, and yes, the best, and I went into this book very, I think, overhyped. I still am liking majority of the characters. The plot is fine, but there's really nothing really exciting that's driving me forward in the book, if you know what I'm saying. Like, this book is not really fantasy driven. There are these elemental jade that the people from Kakon can wear, and it gives them these kind of powers or super strength, but we're not really focusing on that. That's not the focus of the book. That is the fantasy part of the book, but that's not the focus. The focus is very much mafia driven. Like, these 2 clans are in power, the No Peak clan and the Mountain clan, and they are kind of a warring, like a mafia thing. And it's more into the politics of the world and the family dynamics. And so the plot in here is just not really, to me, driving anything forward in this book. So I'm sure that I'm 50% of the way. I'm going to feel differently, but I have read through, I'm on page 319 of a 580 something page book. And by this point, I would expect myself to be drawn in. And while I'm still liking the characters, I'm not as drawn into the plot in this one, if that makes any sense. But I'm going to hop on some sprints, and I may pick up something else that I can listen to an audio. I am immersion reading Jade War. I really, really, really like the audiobook narrator for the series. He is fantastic, 100%, but I cannot listen to this just with my ears only. Fantasy, I have a really hard time of just listening to the audiobook. I like to immersion read it to kind of get a better sense of the story and the characters. Sometimes I get confused. I, however, can listen to mystery thrillers and romance on audiobook fairly well. I don't have to read that with my eyes. So I'm thinking I may pick up something while I'm cleaning the house that I can just listen to with my ears. But I am going to hop on sprints for a little bit. Again, still participating in Ramathon, still participating in TBR Blitz. And there's been great sprints going on for those 2 events. And so I'm going to hop on sprints here and do a little bit more reading of Jade War before I get to cleaning, and I will check back in later. So I have completed Jade War, and my thoughts still remain the same. This is a 4-star read. Again, I understand why people love this book. I liked it. I think Fundally does excellent character work, and what makes this book is absolutely 100% the characters. The plot is fine. It's good. You know, when you hear about these books, you don't hear a lot of criticisms on it, but I can say that I think that Jade War had a few pacing issues, and it was fine. It was fine again, but I gave it 4 stars. But I don't think this book is for me. Like I've talked about before, I think the whole mafia gang thing is just not for me. if we're being honest. But I can understand why there are people that absolutely positively love this series, and I also love it. These are like my babies as well. These are like my characters right here, and so I'm invested in them, and I overall enjoyed this book. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars. So I have completed my first book for the TBR Blitz and the Realmathon, and submitted my books, got my team some points, and now I have to figure out what I'm going to read next. I'm not quite sure after I've read this chunker. I don't know if I want to stay in the fantasy genre or read something a little bit lighter. I will have to think, and I will check in later. Okay, so it's April the 4th, and I didn't really read anything yesterday. I did take my time and decide what I wanted to read next yesterday, but I was busy doing other things. But I did decide to start City of Nightmares, and I did read a chapter of this. This is the gorgeous Fairy Loot edition. And it's such a quick, easy read. I'm now a little bit over 100 pages, and I'm enjoying myself with this. I get where people say it's weird, but I haven't really gotten too far into it to say that it's weird. But basically, in this world, when we fall asleep, we sometimes can turn into our nightmare. So if we're super afraid of spiders and we have a dream or a nightmare about a spider, we could potentially turn into a spider. And this is what happened to our main character's sister. Her sister turned into the spider and she killed her father and some other people. And so basically you can kill people. There's all kinds of nightmares in here, and our main character works for this organization that basically is in charge of keeping the nightmares in check, killing the nightmares if need be. Except there's one problem. She's a coward. She's a scaredy cat. So she's not sure how much longer she's going to last in this kind of job. And so our story kind of goes from there. And in this world, like, you can take a drug to kind of keep yourself from turning into a nightmare. So anyway, I'm finding that I like it. I like the horror elements in it. I am liking the characters. So far I'm just using this book. It's fairly short. I'm using this book as kind of a palate cleanser between my high fantasy reads, and I'll be using this for Realmathon. So, because it's a genre hybrid. Also, look at the back of this. It's a pterodactyl. I love it. Also, some really exciting news that happened to me yesterday. So, I have been, like, looking at everybody's gorgeous editions from the Broken Binding for, like, ever and a day since it started. And I could swear that I signed up for the waitlist, like, when the Winnowing Flame... Wasn't the Winnowing Flame trilogy, like, the first series that came out? I can't recall. But I feel like it was. And I feel like I signed up for the waitlist when the Winnowing Flame trilogy came out. You know, the Broken Binding came up with a tier 2 subscription, and they were going to send out more invites, and those invites went out last Monday. Well, I didn't get an invite. So I was thinking, there's no freaking way that I didn't sign up for this, because I was thinking I would get an invite because, like, I signed up a long time ago, and there were people in the comments saying they had signed up, like, some months ago. And, like, no, I signed up, like, a year ago. So I was looking at the Broken Binding had made a comment that, you know, when I was looking at signups, like, somebody had said, like, well, I think I signed up, like, a year ago. And then Broken Binding was like, if you signed up like a year ago, you should be close to the top. Like, just email us and we'll give you the list, your place or whatever. But I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to bother them, because maybe I didn't sign up. Maybe I have memory issues and I just don't know, like, that I signed up. But I could have sworn I signed up. Well, yesterday, like, I thought the emails for the tier 2 subscriptions finished going out last week. Well, they released another batch of tier 2 subscriptions, and guess who got in there? Your friend. So I'm super excited. So now I have my Broken Binding subscription. So unfortunately, because I got Broken Binding subscription, I unsubscribed to my Fairy Loot young adult subscription. I'm still keeping the adult subscription, but I canceled the young adult subscription. I like everything I've gotten from them thus far. I haven't even been subscribed that long, because it took me forever and a day to actually get a Fairy Loot subscription to young adult and adult. I feel like I was on the wait list for years, but money wise, I would rather have the Broken Binding and the adult subscription to Fairy Loot over the young adult. But it's not to say anything against young adult. I want more. I'm leaning more towards adult reading. Also, something that happened today was that the Book Depository announced that they would be closing, and I'm shocked. I know that they got acquired by Amazon some years ago, and I'm really upset that Amazon has made the decision to close the Book Depository. It has changed the way that people in foreign countries can get books, because a lot of times, it's very expensive for them to acquire books, or they can't even get any books, shipped to them. So I really feel like that's a disservice to everybody, that relies on the Book Depository for to be able to read books, period, especially the indie market, because I think that you can't get a lot of indie titles in like a lot of other countries. So they relied on the Book Depository to, provide them with indie copies. So it's a sad day for a lot of us book lovers. So what I'm going to do is, you can make orders on the Book Depository until I think April the 26th. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some books. I'm not quite sure, but there are some UK editions that I would like to purchase. And yes, you can purchase these books from elsewhere, but I feel like I'm really just sad that, for us US people, we can purchase, the UK editions elsewhere. But I do know that I want to complete my, I have the UK, I know that the US also just like publish this or whatever, but I want the rest of the UK editions of this, and there's a couple of other series that I want the UK editions of. I may just go ahead and buy off of Book Depository, so we'll have to see. Alright, so I'm about to join some sprints and see if I can't knock some more down on this. I'm like, the font is so big and the pages are large and it's fairly short. So I may even finish this tonight, who knows. So we'll have to see. I'll check in when I get some more progress in. Maybe when I finish it, we'll have to see. I'll let you know. Okay. I'm filming you so y'all can see my dog. So I actually really wanted to finish City of Nightmares last night, but I got really tired and I didn't. But I'm on page 231. So I think within the next hour or so, hour and a half, I'll finish this. And I'm super excited. So I'm still waiting for it to get super weird. I don't think that right now it's super weird. I don't know. We're still following the same kind of characters and I like them. I like them a lot, actually, and I really like all the characters. I don't know. I can't. I'm not hating this, which I honestly thought that because of the way people talk about it, this may be a book I DNF, but I'm actually really, really enjoying myself. I should finish within the next hour and a half, like I said, and I'll pop back in with my thoughts. Then I have to figure out what the heck I'm gonna read next, and I keep waffling back and forth on my TBR for TBR Blitz, so I don't know what I'm gonna read next. I cannot tell you, but you can see my dog. She's looking, so it's time to go. Okay, I have finished City of Nightmares, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I liked this book. So I don't know if y'all are like me, but whenever I finish a book, I go to Goodreads, especially one that has had mixed reviews. I go to Goodreads and I kind of see why people rate books so low and or high, either way, depending on how I'm feeling about a book. And this book's complaints, or the way that people write, the reasons that they were ranked low, is it's very YA. Number one, this is a YA book, so you can't decrease stars for something being the age range that it actually is, which is very, very strange. So I do think that, of course, I like the writing is simplistic, whatever. Like, this is not a high epic adult fantasy. Like, I myself used it as a palate cleanser in between my epic fantasies, and it fit the bill perfectly for that, which is why I highly, highly enjoyed it. I love the fact, yes, there's not a lot of world building in here and too much character. I mean, you get a lot about the characters, but there's not a lot of, it's a very plot driven book. So I still really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. And so there's that. But of course my battery died. But basically, I do think that you may have gone into this book with the wrong expectations, because I went into this book thinking it was going to be a fantasy horror. To me, it's more like it's a fantasy, but more of a mystery. It does have some horror elements, but I think the book is mostly kind of like a mystery. So we're following our main character. She is basically part of, I can't remember what the group is called, but the group's purpose is to basically support people whose relatives have turned into nightmares, have, been killed by nightmares, whatever. They're supposed to support, they're supposed to offer trauma therapy for these people. And nightmares are, of course, you can go to sleep and you can turn into your worst nightmare. When you wake up, and you can kill people, you can do whatever, you can turn into whatever. And so there's medication, of course, to prevent you from doing this. Our main character is part of this group, this trauma therapy group. And she herself is terrified of nightmares. In this division, you can actually level up to be like a nightmare defense person, but she is terrified of them. So, of course, anything nightmarish, she's very just terrified. So she's not very helpful to this place. So she thinks she's going to get kicked out. And so she doesn't want to get kicked out because it's the only place that she feels safe, since her sister turned into a spider from a nightmare and killed her father. And so she doesn't have any family left. She feels safe at this place. She has a friend there that makes her feel safe. And so she thinks she's going to get kicked out because there's an incident happened where she got scared of a nightmare and just didn't help her friend out. And so she decides to, instead of doing nightmare stuff right now, I'm going to go deliver the mail. And so she takes on this mail job, which she's got to get on this boat, and she's got to cross the boat to cross the body of water to deliver the mail. And lo and behold, she meets this vampire on the boat, and some things happen, and the boat blows up. And so the mystery is basically what's really happening, and is what's happening really what we think is happening? Who blew up the boat? What? It's just kind of like a mystery. It's a mystery. I enjoyed it. I would recommend this, and it's a duology, and the second book in the series comes out this September. So we got both books coming out in 1 year, which is great, and I'm ready to read it. And I love this cover. And also on the back, there's a pterodactyl, and it's supposed to be the mayor of the town has a pterodactyl, and I guess this is the pterodactyl. It's a killer pterodactyl, I believe. So anyway, highly recommend. Don't know what I'm going to read next. I have no clue, but I'll come back when I decide what that is. Hello. Hey guys, so technically the vlog should be over now, but I decided to keep it going until I finish one more book. It's Saturday. Easter is tomorrow. We've been having a grand old time. Hanging out today. I am reading The Bitter Twins on my Kindle. I don't own a physical copy of this, which is very unfortunate, because while I love to read my Kindle, I love my Kindle, I really just for some reason have been in a very mood to read something physically. So, but I'm reading The Bitter Twins. And do you ever read like some fantasy sci-fi series that you're just thinking in your head, like, how did the author come up with this craziness? Because that's the way I feel when I'm reading The Bitter Twins. I love The Bitter Twins. I'm not saying that I don't like it. I'm just saying, like, sometimes you're like, what was going through their mind when they were writing this? Like, how did they come up with this? I can't say much about, because if you don't know what The Bitter Twins is, it's the second book in the Winnowing Flame trilogy that starts with The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. And I'm almost 50% in to The Bitter Twins, hoping to finish it tomorrow. I have a lot of stuff I need to do because it's Easter. But we're also going to go see the new Mario movie tomorrow. So maybe I'll check in with you when I get there. But for some odd reason, also, I've been falling asleep. Like I said, I may have said earlier, I've just been so exhausted this week. So like, I'm like an old woman, like in bed by 8:30. It's ridiculous. So I haven't done much reading progress on The Bitter Twins, but I'm hoping to continue to enjoy this. And I'm going to continue to read this book and hopefully finish it tomorrow. I'll check in probably when I finish it, maybe before. Happy Easter, everyone! So, it's Sunday, it's Easter, it's late at night. I've already done all my Eastering stuff. But I have finished The Bitter Twins. And I'm happy to say that I overall really enjoyed this book. So the first 50% was like 3 stars for me. I was trying to get back into the story. And then the second part of the book was 5 glowing stars. So I'm going to land on a 4-star read for this. I really enjoyed my time in here. And honestly, I thought it would be a little bit not good because it had been a little bit of a long time since I've read The Ninth Reign. But popped right back into The Bitter Twins. Loved this. The characters continue to grow on me. I continue to get attached to these characters and continue to get attached to these war beasts. If you don't know what The Ninth Reign is about, it's essentially following these Warrens. They're kind of like vampires, but they, instead of feeding on blood, they fed on this sap from this tree god. And unfortunately, the tree god has died. And so they've had to kind of move on to human blood, but unfortunately, that's not very good for them and has brought about a disease called the Crimson Flux. And most of them have died out. And so now they're trying to figure out what's going to happen if another war comes, because their tree god used to, when the aliens attack, they're called rains. So for the previous rains, 8 rains, the tree god has spawned these war beasts to fight for them. However, now that the tree god is dead and a 9th reign is imminent, what is going to happen? So this is a continuation from the 9th reign, and I am very, very looking forward to ending this trilogy, to finishing it out. Hopefully sometime soon. I loved it. We went and saw Super Mario Brothers today, and I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. My kids loved it. I loved it. I thought it was a good nostalgic time for myself, and the kids, of course, they don't know much about Mario, but they had a great fun time. And that's gonna be it, guys. I'm gonna clear this vlog out. I am going to input the Bitter Twins into TBR Blitz, and this will be my big chunker prompt that I think I'm gonna go with. And I will catch you guys later. I'll catch you on the flip side. I have no idea what I'm gonna read next.